Please rise. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessings upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Today we are bringing back, gratefully, since with the subsiding of COVID and everything else, we had begun a process of welcoming our Boy Scouts troop here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight they're going to join us. So I'd invite them to present the colors. And they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Retire the colors, please. This time, I'd ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes of May 3rd, 10th, and 17th, 2021. Is there such a motion? Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderwoman Miles. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. First on our agenda this evening are two proclamations. The first proclamation is from, whereas we acknowledge June as Pride Month, we're reminded of what makes Norwich great, our remarkable capacity to advance together and stand together with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community as they declare their pride in who they are and whom they love. And whereas the LGBTQ community has worked tirelessly for respect and parity, their battles have been fought in the courts, from marriage equality to demanding equal protection under the law. And whereas we continue to make the case that all human beings share something fundamental in common, all of us want to be loved and all of us want to love. And whereas there's been remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality in recent years, members of the LGBTQ+ community in the United States and around the world still face an unacceptable level of discrimination. And whereas members of the LGBTQ+ community are citizens of Norwich and have contributed to business and charities, are employed or employ others, and they continue to contribute to making the Rose City a better place. And whereas the City of Norwich stands with all our citizens and wants to see all our residents happy and healthy and living the life they choose to live and love. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Peter Albert Nystrom, and Norwich City Council President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt, on behalf of the Norwich City Council and the citizens of the City of Norwich, do hereby affirm the month of June as Pride Month. We ask all our citizens to respect the LGBTQ+ community and help us celebrate the diversity in Norwich, dated the 7th day of June, 2021, presented by myself and our Pro Tem Mark Betancourt. The second proclamation this evening is acknowledging the 20 years of dedicated service and compassion that the Norwich Bully Busters have brought to our community, and I would say to the state of Connecticut as well. This past Saturday, they celebrated their 20th anniversary. It was fun. If you participated, you know you either went to Blazing D's or you went to La Stella's and bought some food, able to take it home and be part of the celebration online. So I'd like to acknowledge Whereas the Norwich Bully Busters and Youth Against Bullying commenced its work in Norwich in May 2001, and whereas the Norwich Bully Busters and Youth Against Bullying has grown in support to include such agency as the Norwich Youth and Family Services, United Community and Family Services, and the Norwich Public Schools. And whereas the Norwich Bully Busters and Youth Against Bullying has provided professional training on bullying and understanding the 2002 Act concerning school learning environment that provided the basis for the first school bullying policy. And whereas the Norwich Bully Busters and Youth Against Bullying continues to advocate for anti-bullying through changes in legislation, education among youth, teachers, parents, state and local officials to stop the violence and promote preventive youth programs. And whereas in 2015, the Norwich Bully Busters started a campaign, Kindness is Magical, which including putting over 350 buddy benches in the greater Norwich area schools and libraries. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Peter Albert Nystrom, and Norwich City Council President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt, on behalf of the Norwich City Council and the citizens of the City of Norwich, to hereby recognize and congratulate the Norwich Bully Busters and Youth Against Bullying on achieving 20 years of commitment to the youth of the Rose City, and encourage residents to express their sincere appreciation and show support to this organization that celebrates 20 years of positive stepping stones with an unsurpassed determination and passion for our youth. Again, dated the 7th day of June 2021, presented by myself and our Pro Tem Mark Betancourt. May we congratulate both, please. Thank you.
Petitions and communication. Number 1, communication from the City Council and Board of Education Ad Hoc Committee regarding the 2021-22 budget.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to receive this formally, please. Alderman Darrell Wilson, is there a second? Alderman Ella Miles. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous.
Number 2, communication from the City Council and the Board of Education Ad Hoc Committee regarding establishing non-lapsing account for unexpended educational funds.
Again, I would seek a motion, please, from the floor. Alderman Darrell Wilson, second. Alderwoman Ella Miles, please. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous, and the vote on both of those is 7-0 for the record. Thank you. City Manager's report, please.
Thank you. This is the City Manager's report for June 7th, 2021. The City Hall reopened to the public on Monday, May 24th, with a very smooth transition and no issues. Meetings attended including state representatives and legislators, Southeastern Council of Governments, South Area Transit, NPU City Coordination Meeting, Department of Health COVID-19 updates, NCDC board meetings, fire chiefs, Passport to Norwich campaign, and the American Rescue Plan meetings. The city has received the $10,600,000 in funding from the American Rescue Plan, which has been invested in short-term bank investments. We are now getting clarification on the guidelines, and there will be a presentation at the July 6th council meeting on how the funds are proposed to be dispersed. Norwich Public Works Department staff participated in a training session to clean and reset historic burial markers at the Norwich Town Burial Grounds so that they may be enjoyed and studied by visitors for years to come. On June 5th, approximately 50 students from NFA participated in a community service project in conjunction with Public Works. In addition to picking up litter on some downtown streets, the students painted the primer coat of white paint on the bump outs of 4 intersections along Central Avenue in Greenville. The primer paint will then be covered with various colors as community enhancement Complete Streets project. Thank you to the Norwich Youth Grants, who awarded a total of $156,000 to Norwich-based organizations. The grants support youth development programs and services for economically and socially disadvantaged Norwich youth. The city's recreation summer day camp was awarded $25,000, and $12,000 was awarded to the Norwich Youth and Family Services for Summer Jam and Learn. The grants are administered by the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut. The Passport to Norwich program began on June 1st to encourage local tourism in Norwich. The city partnered with U.S. Foods, Norwich Historical Society, Eastern Regional Tourism District, Greater Norwich Area Chamber of Commerce, and NCDC to help the local small business restaurant owners and provide them with the resources and support to succeed after the pandemic. The passport includes a map with the Walk Norwich heritage trails of scenic routes through historically significant places. Full details are available at passporttonorwich.com. My assistant, Jackie Barbarossa, who is also the city's liaison for the Neighborhood Assistant Act program, has received 11 applications for the 2021 program, totaling $862,348. The public hearing for the applications will be held June 21st and forwarded to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services before the July 1st submission date. The Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act Tax Credit Program provides funding for municipal and tax-exempt organizations by providing corporate business tax credits for businesses that make cash contributions to the organizations that are approved by the Department of Revenue Services. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Are there questions of the city manager? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
So, good evening. First, actually, it's really not a question. I will say the 50 athletes, student athletes that participated this past weekend in community service, it was definitely, I will say, more than 50 athletes that participated. I was fortunate enough to meet many of these students. Some were some of my former students. To get up early on a Saturday to give back to this community. They also gave back to several surrounding communities, Lisbon and Voluntown as well. And I would say there probably was close to 175 total athletes that participated in this community service day across the region. And for me, it's important because they understand the part of investing in their community, giving back to the community that champions them, roots them on. So I want to give them a special thanks for getting up on a Saturday and doing some of the work that beautifies this city. So it wasn't just picking up trash. You know, some of them did some of the projects that are going to make some of our neighborhoods bright and beautiful again. And I want to commend them for doing it, not complaining. But I think the bigger portion for me was watching them patronize businesses up and down the streets, downtown, in the Greenville area, and talking. You know, I think it was amazing to see residents happy, excited to see not only young people, but individuals dedicated to giving back in their neighborhoods and communities, which is always a good thing. So I definitely want to give the NFA athletic department, Roy Wentworth, and we, myself and John Solomon, we met with Coach McCoulis, who kind of helped spearhead the project here in Norwich, for reaching out to give back. I also want to give a shout out to the Public Works department for being patient with the students. For some, it was their first time ever painting, and they did an excellent job, I will tell you that. Especially with it being a warm Saturday, I will say they managed and got the job done. So I definitely want to give Public Works staff kudos for working with them, as well as Dan Dineska, who helped coordinate the project over on Central Ave. The other thing that I want to give a kudos to is us coming back to where we are as far as opening up. Things have been good. I want to say seeing individuals work together, it has been important in us making sure we're doing the right thing. And lastly, I want to give a kudos to our volunteer departments as well as our paid department on the joint effort yesterday in fighting yesterday's fire on Roth Street. Although there were some loss as far as property, one thing that sticks out among all of it is when we work together, we do win, and I will say taking care of one another and making sure that at the end of the day everyone was safe was the overall goal. And I thank each and every member that went out and fought, the departments that came and aided. It's just a true testament to what we can do here as a city. So I want to thank each and every one of them, as well as those that may have been injured or even dehydrated on yesterday's hot day. Get better, and thank you for your service. So thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, questions of the city manager? I would just add to his report then at this time. I would also like to give my thanks to the fire service. I was down there part of the afternoon with them, and they worked very, very well together to limit any further damage to that neighborhood. The food distribution this morning, we served over 1,000 families. It was a very hot day, but it was really well received, and they're very appreciative. Again, that continues through to the August 31st. The only Monday not going to have a food distribution is July 5th, which is Independence Day celebration. And this entire month, we are joined by Uncas Health with a vaccine clinic. We were again this morning. Next week, they will have all 3 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson available to the public. Again, no appointments are necessary. As was 2 weeks ago, some people were able to get their second Moderna shot, so it assisted them, and it also freed up a slot in another place where they may have been scheduled. So we have food and vaccines together, and that will continue right through the end of this month. And again, I want to thank Uncas Health for making that possible, as well as the Connecticut Food Share and Food Bank, who are providing the food here at this time, as well as the Mashantuckets Nation, who provide the land for us to safely stack all the cars. If you saw our first effort a number of months ago, we tried 5 neighborhood food distributions, and it turned into parking lots, and it was not the right way to do it. They provided the land, and we're very, very grateful, as I want to say again, for their assistance. Thank you. Yes, Alderman Wilson.
Just one question. I know a few months back we passed the funding to help small businesses. Is it possible during our June 21st meeting, you could give us an update as to where things are as far as that?
Absolutely. I can tell you, and I don't see Kathy, but Kathy Crease, the other grant of $544,000 from HUD, I'm not sure if we've even received that yet. They're not very timely. Applications have been accepted. I know the office has been working with the applicants to assist and improve their applications where they found some shortfalls, and Sector is still working with them as well, but I'd be happy to do that. Yes? Okay. At this time, I'd like to declare citizen comment on resolutions on the agenda items to be open. And we have a sign-up sheet at this time. First is Mrs. Heather Romansky.
There's more stuff up here than I'm used to. Heather Romansky, 297 Scotland Road, Resolution Number 4. I respectfully ask that you grant the Board of Education's request for a 3.95% increase in funding. Last year's budget season was difficult. I chaired the most grueling Board of Ed meeting in my tenure when we adopted a budget in June 2020 that required significant and sweeping cuts to our staff and programs. After consecutive years of ending the fiscal year in a deficit that required drawing from the city's fund balance, we remain on target to end the fiscal year within our budget. I said this when I stood here in May, but it's worth repeating. We have heard you and your concerns, and we've taken action. We've worked hard to earn your trust and respect. There's more work to do, but we're committed, determined, and we need your continued partnership. I understand that it's tempting to justify allocating less than was requested because of the infusion of COVID grant money. That grant money's intended purpose is to fund student recovery programs and to address learning loss. Speaking as a mom who has tried so hard to protect and support my daughters during this time, believe me when I tell you, you cannot even imagine how desperately those programs are needed. I worry that if we don't make the investment in our schools, that will backslide right back into a structural deficit. I've sat in these chambers, and I can't turn my page. I've sat in these chambers more than once and heard the analogy about a big ship and how it takes a series of little adjustments to straighten its course. Funding at this requested level is a little adjustment that keeps us on our course. A few weeks ago, one or more of you, more than one of you actually, made a statement that you all serve because you love the city of Norwich. And I volunteer to lead the hardworking and dedicated team that makes up the Board of Education because I love Norwich and the students that live here too. I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't stand and advocate for them tonight. Fully funding the board's budget request allows us to continue to provide the very best for our Norwich students. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to stand in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Scott Egert.
Scott Eggert, 11 Tanglewood Drive. I'm speaking on resolution number 4. I strongly urge all of you to reconsider one line item in the budget, and that's for the fire director at a salary of $140,000 a year for a job description that hasn't been fully decided as to what is going to happen, let alone a job that will happen. You're kind of cornering yourself into something that may or may not go at that cost, and I would highly encourage you to reconsider that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tim Coleman.
Hi, my name is Tim Coleman. I'm also here for resolution number 4. I live at 1 Sherwood Lane. I am against the fire commissioner. I'm told that the salary is going to be $140,000, but I think that everybody needs to take into account that this person is going to need some type of executive secretary, office space, vehicle, gas expense, pension, retirement, insurance, equipment, phones, radios. It's going to be well over $140,000. I would respectfully ask that you seriously consider spending this money elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who did not sign up that would like to address the council at this time? Please.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Stringfellow, the Superintendent of Schools, and I'm here to speak on Resolution 4. I'm here this evening to advocate for the council's support for the Board of Education budget 3.95% increase and to support your decision to create a non-lapsing fund to deal with capital concerns and other unbudgeted, unanticipated expenses for the schools. The Board of Education and the Ad Hoc Committee have both supported this effort. Our school budget, as you know, is comprised around 3 central components: staffing, fixed costs such as transportation, healthcare, retirement, and utilities, and then high school tuition, which is not within our control, which is increasing upwards of 3%. It has been our shared goal on the Board of Education and Council to not deficit spend, to not rely on the city fund balance, and to not over-rely on grants. I plan and hope to continue those goals. Both the city and the schools are receiving large grants for COVID recovery, and they should be used, hopefully, as intended. We certainly do not plan to ask for your support out of the COVID funds that the city is receiving, and we are hopeful to not use the COVID recovery money for general operating budget needs or capital needs. We plan first to use the non-lapsing account in our operating budget. Funding at 3.95% increase will help us to avoid a fiscal cliff when the grants run out. And the non-lapsing account will help us to address urgent capital needs that have not been addressed in the city schools for the last decade or more. And just as a brief reminder, in August of 2019, I shared with the Board of Education and the City Manager's Office the most pressing capital needs in our schools. And the most pressing need at the time was the Stanton boiler. We've talked a lot about that, but certainly it's not our only concern. In 2019, I also had a roofing audit, and we have roof repair and replacement needs all over the school district, the most pressing of which are at Adult Ed, Stanton, Huntington, Waquanic, Bishop, Uncas, and Moriarty. We also had a further HVAC and boiler replacement audit, and the most urgent of those needs is certainly Stanton, followed very closely by Global, Uncas, and Huntington. We also shared at that time the handicap accessibility needs of central office, Bishop, Waquanic, Global, Huntington, Adult Ed, and NTA, and elevator repair and replacement in various schools. Our contribution to the non-lapsing account this year, we are hopeful, will be a bit more than anticipated, and that's a very good thing because, as you can see, we have very real critical capital needs, and the school department and the city have not addressed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd also like to speak to the council on resolutions on the agenda today.
Good evening, Brian Kobolars, 16 Hobart Avenue. Wanted to speak on a couple things very briefly this evening. One of which is several weeks ago during one of the public hearings on the budget, put in a request to find out more on the marketing and what was being shown carried over from one year to another, but I'm only aware of real expenses being done during one of those years. So why do we keep on allocating that money if it's not being spent? Or if it is being spent, where is it being spent? Item 2 is NCDC. After the article ran in the paper, I hope that all of you had a chance to read some of the comments that were in there. You will make note that we ended up just over a year ago having a president, a senior vice president, and a vice president. 3 executive positions. Now we don't have any of those, but we are looking at 1 president. There should be some cost savings there, I would assume, not expenses. Foundry 66 should be able to, just like every other business in Norwich, has had to struggle and find other ways of doing what they need to do to stay alive. We should have them do exactly the same thing and not reach into the taxpayers' pockets, if at all possible. I do understand that NPU is increasing their allocation, but to the best of my knowledge, that's really a wash, because before they provided free utilities, now they're going to end up billing them. So that's why an increase of money there. I don't understand why we need to subsidize NCDC more than we already are. We need them. They're a great organization insofar as what their mission is. But we do need to have accountability. We do need to know that we're just not handing money over each time that there's budget time. I appreciate your considerations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak to the council, please, at this time on the resolutions on the agenda? Would anyone like to address the council on any of the resolutions on the agenda? Third and final request. Is there anyone else considering discussing anything with the council on the items on the agenda? Seeing none at this time, I then declare this portion of citizen comment to be closed, and I thank you for sharing all your concerns.
Want me to just say it?
My battery's on.
Microphone down.
New business resolutions. Relative to a resolution scheduling a public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant Allocation recommendations for the public hearing on July 6, 2021.
Motion to move, please. President Pro Tem Mark Bettencourt, second Alderwoman Gould. Is the discussion on the resolution? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia.
Yes.
Alderman Miles.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould.
Yes.
Alderman Nash.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 2, relative to the sale of beer and wine at Rocking the Dodd, held at Dodd Stadium, and Rock the Docks, held at Howard T. Brown Park.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Ella Miles, second. Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Yes, Alderwoman Gould.
Now that COVID may be sort of behind us, I'm hoping behind us, I would hope that the public will go out and support these 6 different opportunities to enjoy summer concert series, either whether you choose to go to Rocking the Dodd or Rock the Docks or both. But it was a great event 2 years ago, and I'm sure it will be a great events this coming summer. And get out to see your friends and neighbors. So please support this summer concert series that the Chamber has worked very hard to put together for all of us.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I would let the public know, although it's not contained in this, they are also doing the summer series of acoustic concerts on the Norwich Town Green. They begin on July 9th, and they will follow for 6 weeks as well into the summer. And okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould.
Yes.
Alderman Nash.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 3, relative to the acceptance to convey property in connection with an easement for 9 Smith Avenue.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Gould, is there a second? Alderwoman Ella Miles. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould.
Yes.
Alderman Nash.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Again, the motion passes 7-0.
At this time, before we would discuss Resolution 4,
I was in touch with our senator. The state budget has not been passed. She's hopeful that it will happen tomorrow. But the council took an action at the beginning of this 2-year term where we scheduled an extra meeting in the month of June in case such an occurrence happened where the state was not in place to tell us what the actual revenues are that they adopted on. And that is next Monday on the 14th. It is already a scheduled meeting for this council. Should we act on the budget tonight, we'll be doing so based on the revenue estimates at this time, subject to any potential change, which we're not aware of. But at the same time, well, having been up there long enough, anything can happen from my own experience. So the question is the council of a mind to wait until they adopt and adjourn, which is also on this Wednesday? They adjourn midnight on the 9th. We would know fully well what they have in fact passed, and our city manager, comptroller, would have time to go through the budget not just the newspaper articles, and actually see the numbers. So I would invite discussion. Mark,
Well,
please.
I would motion that we postpone action on resolutions 4, 5, and 6 until the meeting scheduled for June 14th.
I'll second the motion.
A motion made by President Pro Tem Mark Bettencourt, seconded by Alderwoman Stacy Gould, to postpone actions on resolutions 4, 5, and 6 until next Monday, which is June 14th.
Flag Day.
Is there discussion on the motion? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I think for the people at home, just to reiterate the part of us being responsible and not passing something ahead of knowing what we have, just in case a change comes. This also will give us some time, if there is adjustments that need to be made, it gives Josh and the staff and whatnot time. So it's not us rushing to get this done, but we know from previous that this is something that occurs. So just letting people know that this is not us waiting, but us being diligent and making sure we're making the right decisions.
Thank you.
Briefly.
Yes. Pro Tem.
It's like Alderman Wilson said, and that's a fact. I mean, on my particular case, I'm concerned with the education budget and the monies that we'll be receiving in these ECS grants and whatever else may be on the table. So when we know that kind of number, I think we'll be in better shape to take some kind of action on the budget as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? I would also point out that this is in keeping with the city charter. The charter allows the council to take this action by the second Monday of the month in case something like this occurs. But, roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
The motion to postpone to the 14th passes 7-0. Thank you.
New business ordinances. An ordinance amending Article 6 of Chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances by establishing a non-lapsing account for unexpended education fund and modifying existing financial management procedures, policies.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask for a motion to bring this to our floor, waive the full text reading of the bill, and to schedule this public hearing for the 21st of June. Is there such a motion? Pro Tem Bettencourt, second by Alderman Wilson.
Alderman.
What did I say? I did not, did I? Oh, geez. Sorry. Did I? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Number 2, an ordinance to establish the position of Director of Fire Service to be codified as Section 8-12 of Chapter 8 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances and to set responsibilities and requirements with respect to the position.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask for support for a motion to bring this proposed ordinance to a floor, and I would ask that the motion include waiving the full text of the reading, that the motion include that this be referred to the Public Safety Committee as well, and I'm simply just going to make this a recommendation that we look at a potential public hearing on this September. And that's up for discussion, but I don't know how much time you need. But is there such a motion or something else?
I agree with the motion up until September. This public hearing should be scheduled for June 21st.
Your meeting this week, correct?
Yes, and it is on the agenda.
Okay, I hadn't seen that. Thank you. So you're making the motion then?
Yes.
Okay, so again, the motion is to raise the ordinance, waive the full text and reading, refer it to public safety, and schedule the public hearing for the 21st of June. Is there a second? Alderman Wilson. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
No.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
No.
So that's 5-2.
Motion passes for public hearing 5-2.
I hereby move pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, Section 1-200, subsection 6, that the members of the Norwich City Council go into executive session for the purpose of discussing an application and/or applications for a grant for necessary code work and structural improvements qualifying and available under the American Rescue Plan Act, when such discussions will involve trade secrets in the form of commercial or financial information given in confidence and not required by statute. City Manager John Salamone and Corporation Counsel Michael Driscoll shall be asked to participate during all or portions of this executive session at the request of the City Council.
Is there a second? Alderman Wilson. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Are we moving, or we?
For a motion for the council to return from executive session, let the motion also state that no votes were taken.
So
There's a
moved.
motion by Pro Tem Bettencourt, second by Alderwoman Ella Miles.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We got to vote on the motion to return, please.
Oh, Lord.
Who made the motion?
So
Mark
close.
and Ella, and then roll call starts with Joe.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
It's not my turn.
On return.
Nash, yes.
Alderman
Yes.
Gould? It's easier for me to call rotation. Yes. Alderman Bettencourt?
Yes.
Yes.
Alderman Miles? Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Gould, Nash, roll call. Joe?
Alderman
Yes.
DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderman
Yes.
Gould? Alderman Bettencourt?
Yes.
Alderman Miles?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned.